Hello, everyone, and welcome to the World Series of Board Gaming's How to Win series. Today, we're taking a look at Heat. Heat is the newest addition to 2024. We will crown our very first Heat pedal to the metal world champion. Far more impressive than any race car driver out there. You can be the winner of Heat. You could be the Heat world champion. And here are some tips to get you started on your way. And before we begin, for those of you who haven't gotten your tickets to the World Series of Board Gaming, well, let me hit you with this deal. You could win your share of $100,000 in cash and prizes just for playing board games. The World Series of Board Gaming is back and bigger than ever. High-level play, friendly competition, national championships, there's no other event of its kind. Are you the next big name in board gaming? Get your tickets now at WSBGVegas.com and use the code IMN to save yourself up to 50 bucks. What are you waiting for? It's time to get in the game. But it's not only that. Not only is there still time to get your tickets to WSBG 2024, but this year we have come out with an all-new ticket, the Open Gaming ticket. That's right, last year we had the Outer Ring ticket, and now we've opened it up into even more tiers for you to pick the thing that will give you the best gaming experience ever. If you just want to be in open gaming, if you just want to have 24/7 board gaming with the Dice Tower West Library in September, if you don't feel like competing in the main event, or in the Outer Ring tournaments, or in the national championships, well, you can just come and have fun in the Open Gaming Library, playing with VIPs that are going to be at the event, play a game with Tom Vassell, play a game with Z Garcia, play a game with Paula Deming, have some fun with evening shows that are happening in Vegas, either our evening board gaming shows or just Vegas shows. And you also get free entry into one Outer Ring or national championships. You can dip your toes in the water. Just get a little taste of competitive gaming. Realize that it's not so scary. And actually, it's great fun to put your gaming skills to the test. If you're going to be attending Dice Tower West, you can check that out along with all of our regional qualifiers. Stay tuned to WSBGVegas.com for more details on those, how you can win your way in. Or, of course, use the code IMN to get that $50 off your stay and play ticket and secure your hotel room. Seriously, get your tickets now, get your hotel rooms now. That's the most important part. We can maybe squeeze a few more people into the hall, but hotel rooms are limited. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Heat. We're here to talk about 5 tips to put your racing game into the next gear and for you to come out on top in your Heat games, and more importantly, at WSBG. I'm really excited. I'm very excited that Heat was chosen as one of the games to be in 2024's World Series of Board Gaming Championships. We've finally got a racing game in there, and we've got a new game where the meta hasn't been developed yet. And so if you think you're a pretty good Heat player, which requires some careful planning and a little bit of push your luck, well then I am excited to see you compete. And if you're not sure, well, wait until the end of this video. And if you knew all these tips, hey, you might be well on your way. So let's get some strategy tips going off, starting off with the name of the game, Heat. Tip number 1 is to save your Heat cards. Basically, don't boost. There's always the opportunity to boost using a Heat, but Heat is such a valuable resource for turn efficiency, because basically when it boils down to it, Heat is a game about having the fewest number of turns. You want to eke out less turns than your opponent. You want to cross the finish line by using less turns than somebody else. And using your Heat cards is a key component to that, especially on some courses. Let's take the USA map, for example. In the USA map, you can have these long stretches of open track, and then your turns are 2 and 3 and 3. These are very, very tight turns, and ones that you're going to want to spend your Heat on. If you can blaze through that corner and get a little bit ahead of the pack, rather than needing to slow down and waste a turn taking the corner at a slower pace, that is exactly what Heat is for. The Heat in your deck is for. That's the benefit of adding more Heat to your deck, that you can push the limit a little bit more if you're managing things effectively. And so saving your Heat and not using them just because you can have a boost, but using them when they are needed Sure, you may want to boost on a straightaway, one with a straightaway, whatever, but there'll be times when you wish you had that one extra heat left in your deck, and saving them for a big blasting turn can really help you push through those tricky spots, and other people who haven't planned as effectively will be resorted to either using luck to draw the right cards or have to slow down and take an extra turn, and that's when you blow by them and move into the lead. Tip number 2 is not to base your entire strategy around your gear cards. You might be playing with the Garage module as part of your game, where every player gets to draft 3 unique cards to add to their deck, making their card different from everybody else's around the table. And this is one of the modules that I love to play with. I think it makes the game so much fun. I think it creates variance and asymmetry between the cards, and you always feel really good using your cards effectively. But they are only 3 cards. You have likely 14 to 15 other cards in your deck, and only so much ability to cycle through those cards. And so building your strategy off of using your gear cards is good, and it's great for those to be dependable, but they should be used more as resources rather than things to hedge your entire game on. Saving that one gear card in your hand, that huge burst of 8 when you're coming up to a bunch of small turns, is a bad play. It's okay to discard your gear cards. It's okay to not use that one big gear card, or rather upgrade cards, I should call them, because the other numbers are working more effectively to set you up for those tighter turns and those other corners. And also, when you're building your car and using those upgrade cards and drafting those 3 cards, do your best to find the synergy between them. Don't go all in on the huge number cards that force you to get heat. Get some cooling and focus on tires and an extra gas pedal if you are in a map that has a lot of tight turns. Picking the right upgrade cards for your map is going to be key to your success, and trying to create a synergy both with each other but not depending upon coming out in the right order. A lot of these cards feel good, but it's only when they come out in that right timing. And so picking valuable upgrade cards that you don't feel like you need to hedge your entire strategy on, of hitting that correct spot and slipstreaming ahead for 4 into the win, is a pretty important thing to keep in mind. Number 3 sort of ties into our number 1, but this is don't spin out. If you spin out in this game, you probably lose. That's just how it comes down to it. You might be able to make a wild comeback depending upon your opponent's deck and how things fall out, but if you have spun out, you have lost a turn of efficiency. You have to slow down and take that turn of efficiency, and more importantly, you get those, or more unfortunately, you get those extra stress cards into your deck, which give you less control, making you rely more on luck and more on how your cards pan out, which is not what you want in this game. This game is all about mitigating that idea of luck, that idea of you not knowing what's going to happen, if you're going to push past or not. And if you spin out, you lose all control. You've lost control not only for that turn efficiency, but you have a lack of control, a decided lack of control from everybody else's deck, and your deck instantly becomes worse, and you have a much larger uphill battle. So if you can take one thing to prioritize in the game, it's not spinning out. If you have the option to spin out or leave yourself 4 spaces short, likely you should probably leave yourself 4 spaces short. Of course, all of these things are general advice, and there may be those closet cases where that situation actually works out. And hey, drop in the comments below any of your tips to win heat. But really, spinning out is essentially the kiss of death in this game. If you really want to play it at a competitive level, you need to learn how to not spin out ever. Tip number 4 is to always keep track of your discards. At some point in time, you're going to want to play those stress cards. And if you've been counting in your discard pile, counting at least the 4s and the 1s, if you can't keep track of all the 3s and the 2s, that's fine. But if you're counting at least the 4s and the 1s, you'll have a general idea of what's left in your deck if you are going to use those stress cards or not. If you decide on a straightaway you want to get them out of your hand and push through, giving yourself more options for later on down the line, keeping track of your discard pile, because you're not allowed to look through your discard pile. You can just see the top card of it. That's one of the most important stats to think about, because it can turn those boost cards, especially when you have a bad draw, you have a lot of heat and lower numbered cards in your hand. It can turn those cards into very valuable straightaways or very valuable shorter cards when coming up to a turn. And so knowing the range of cards in your deck, and especially left in that draw pile, is hugely important if you want to throw a Hail Mary and use one of those stress cards. And those are the times when you should be using the stress cards, when you are fully informed of the percentages. You know that all 3 of your 4s are gone, have been played, or in your hand, and you know that if you play your stress card, well, maybe you can luck into that 1 card, because only one has currently been played. When you haven't accounted for shifting down from 3rd or 4th gear, and you need some small cards to help get you around that corner. And finally, number 5, and this is where it will separate the good Heat players from the exceptional Heat players, it's keeping track of your opponent's cards as well. And the reason for keeping track of your opponent's cards, of course, with the upgrade cards, it's a little bit more difficult to remember and to predict, but knowing what your opponent has in their hand and knowing about the range of where they want to land can actually really help you with getting the edge in this game. And the best way to get the edge in this game is by slipstreaming. Slipstreaming gets you an extra 2 spaces forward. Sometimes slipstreaming can help you go around a corner when you couldn't have reached it before with your speed. If you're too far away from a corner to be able to cross it without burning too much heat, you can slipstream your way around it, just edging out over the line, saving yourself 2 speed, and then being able to kick it into high gear on the next turn. This is the way to get that high octane experience. This is what is exciting about Heat. It's so exciting that I've forgotten to click through even more pictures of this game, because I've just gotten so swept up in the idea. If you're here at this turn of 5, and you've come around the corner, or you're starting back here, I mean, the turns of 5 and 6, they're actually pretty easy to navigate, but you're back here, especially because you're never going to go through 2 corners in 1 turn. There's no way you'll ever have enough heat to make that happen. And so you know you're going to have to navigate these in a certain way. But you're back here, 7 spaces to cross the line. Let's ignore that this is a +1 for speed right now. Or even not. Let's say you know that it's 7 spaces to cross the line. You have no heat left in your engine pile. There's no heat to expend, but you also are keeping track of this yellow car who has moved before you, knowing that they don't have the heat to expend as well. They started, you know, in this close enough to you, planning a turn where you land either here or just behind them, and then using their car to propel you over the line, letting you spend that exact number, not needing to go over in speed, is huge. That is how this game is won, by predicting where your opponents will be and why. Keeping track of your opponent's heat, keeping track of how much they can push the limit, keeping track of where they might end up so that you can draft off of them, especially in those corners. It's the best feeling when you're able to cruise around a corner and get that extra boost because you knew where your opponent was going to be, or your opponent just crossed the line of the corner and you're just behind the line of the corner, and then you can push yourself over as well and stay in competition, with that turn efficiency. Heat. Come on, that's what racing is all about. So that's tip number 5, paying attention to those slipstream predictions, getting good at reading your opponents and figuring out where they are going to be. Those are 5 tips on how to dominate in Heat. Pedal to the metal. Of course, leave your own tips down below. And make sure, again, to get your tickets to WSBG Vegas 2024. It's happening in Vegas at the Horseshoe Casino, September 22nd to the 26th. This is the 3rd year, and it's going to be a friggin' blast. It just keeps getting better and better. We're creating this incredible community of people who want board gaming to be on the main stage, who want board gaming to take front and center and be pushed out across the globe. This is how it starts, and you can be part of that forefront, or you can just come hang out, enjoy the open gaming. There is something for every board gamer at this event. And with our stay and play package, If you book now before the hotel block gets gobbled up, you're getting the best deal of a hotel on the Strip or likely in any major convention. Yeah, and I've been to most of them, and man, oh man, is hotel expensive. And I'm super cheap, and I think this is a good deal. So hopefully you do too. Hopefully you'll come and join me at the World Series of Board Gaming in Vegas. We are looking forward to having you there to compete in the national championships and outer ring tournaments, or there just to have an awesome 5 days playing board games with like-minded people. I can't wait for September, and I look forward to seeing you all there. Stay tuned to the WSBG YouTube channel for all updates of things WSBG and more on our How to Win series, bringing you insider tips of the best players out there. Next week, we're taking a look at Great Western Trail, and man, is that a fun game. And boy, oh boy, have I had the honor and privilege of seeing some really experienced players go at it. I'm excited to talk about that one. Commentary for the full event of 2023 should be releasing on the Dice Towers YouTube this Saturday. But hey, you can always check out the WSBG Vegas YouTube channel for playlists and more of all things competitive board gaming. Thanks for being here. See you next time. My name's Chris George, and from all of us here at WSBG, what are you waiting for? Get in the game.